Merry meet. So I'm now in my old new home in Wales, and so I've set up my space in the room that I'm sharing with Dan, and I'm beginning to build different altars. And so this is my main altar that I'm focusing on at the moment that I wanted to share with you. So this one isn't dedicated to the season in particular, and it's begun as centrally being devoted to Aphrodite as goddess of love and goddess of the sea. But then, as you can see, two other goddesses have joined the altar too. So I've been here a week now, and this is the current development for it. So this is a print by Tiana of the goddess of the sea. And I love this one, and if you see the original of this one, whether it be in the Summer Solstice Goddess Temple or in the Library of Goddess House, this is absolutely stunning in its original massive form. And as you can see, there's lovely glitter, and there's far more glitter on the original copy. And I love this painting. And so before, I had another one of Tiana's paintings of the Goddess of Love. That was originally on my altar, but now I've moved to choose this one for it. I figured if I'm going to dedicate this altar to Aphrodite, then I wanted to have a watery mermaid kind of goddess. So Aphrodite's in the middle there. I've been dedicated to Aphrodite for a number of years. I can't remember when I officially ordained in the Fellowship of Isis, but under the Fellowship of Isis, Aphrodite was one of the goddesses that I dedicated to, and I wasn't quite sure why at the time. I was thinking through who I was going to dedicate to, and I hadn't actually worked with Aphrodite before then, at least knowingly, but something came on so strong, and she just told me I had to dedicate myself as one of her priestesses, and so I did. And I've carried a love of her for these following years, and just waited for an opportunity when she guides me to what to do next. And obviously I haven't, in a lot of my videos, you haven't seen me working with Aphrodite in particular too often. But now she's really coming through, and now she's showing me where I'm going. I've been doing Rhiannon training in Glastonbury, and what I've found is through my exploration of Rhiannon, I'm not connecting to Rhiannon in a sacred sexuality type of way, and so I'm connecting to her in lots of different ways, which is fantastic, but not as a goddess of love, whereas Aphrodite has now come through and said, this is what I'm here for. And I have a deep, profound connection to the sea. I've always lived near the sea, except from when I've moved, in the last year, a year and a half now, where I've moved into the Welsh valleys and Glastonbury and back. It's the only time I haven't been near the sea. So I love the sea, and so I'm feeling a big call to return to it somehow, but we'll get there when we get there. So for now, I'm working with Aphrodite very, very much. I'm actually reading this book by Geoffrey Grigson, The Goddess of Love, The Birth, Triumph and Death and Return of Aphrodite. I think, as you can see, I've stuck lots of little sticky notes on it. 1978, so it's a little bit out of date, really. Well, quite a bit out of date. If I focus again. Yeah. But what I'm reading is really beautiful things, and there's lots of poetry in there, like quoting sources and different figurines, lovely pictures of ancient Aphrodite, and eventually, from her beginnings in the East, with goddesses such as Ishtar and Astarte, and then coming through the Roman period. And what I learnt was that Aphrodite, she's travelled. And I made this altar because Aphrodite, I was praying to her one day, and I did my usual thing where I'm asking her, how can I worship you? Why do I want to worship you? Well, I've got so many goddesses in my land, in Britain. Why aren't I worshipping them? Why worship a goddess who lives in Greece? And she just sassily replied to me, don't you think I can swim? Or do you think I can't swim? And it really rang true to me then that, the goddess can, of course, travel everywhere, and that she wasn't originally even from Greece. She travelled there, and there are archaeological remains of her being in Britain, brought here by the Romans. So she has been here. And of course, all goddesses are linked together in my belief anyway. So I still find it totally appropriate to worship Aphrodite on my little altar in Wales. And then, of course, I have my Egyptian statues here too, because Aphrodite, again, was worshipped in Egypt, and she was identified with Isis here and with Hathor. And this is a new statue from, I bought Hathor from, where was I? In Aswan in Egypt. I bought this lovely Hathor, and I broke her when I got her back, so I need to fix that. But yes, beautiful Hathor. So I have different manifestations of Aphrodite there, and Hathor with her flame is the fiery nature of Aphrodite. Also has power over warfare in Hathor's aspect to Sekhmet, which we see in the origins of Ishtar and goddesses like that. And then her watery, motherly aspects within her association with Isis. So I chose these two goddesses to represent her on this altar too. And of course, honouring these goddesses in their own way, because Isis is a goddess who will always follow me around and be a part of my life. And Hathor is goddess of love and sexuality in Egypt, which is a part of my soul. So the two are very linked for me. So elsewhere on the altar then, I obviously have a candle burning, a blue one for the sea, but a blue candle is the mixture of water and fire in its representation, and it's by Hathor there with her sun disk appropriately. And then I have my bell at the back for when I'm doing invocations, and I do have a peacock feather, which is quite appropriately behind Isis, who has also been linked to Juno or Hera, who the peacock feather is linked to. But I put it there because Aphrodite is goddess of everything beautiful, so I thought that was nice. And then I have a vial of Nile water, again linking Aphrodite to Egypt and the flowing life waters there. And I have an abalone shell that I've put runes in, which I know is a complete mixture of cultures going on here, but I don't mind. I love my runes, and these are made out of sea glass. I did make wooden ones from scratch, which I love, but I've always connected to these ones. These ones are Elder Thuthark, and so I just wanted them on here. I mean, because they're made of sea glass as well, but they're my favourite way of doing divination. I have a mermaid's mirror here, which is lovely, because when I turn it over, you have a mermaid there. A lot of the goddesses of love do have a mirror as part of their symbolism. Shell and a crystal here. I brought my athame back out again. I don't tend to use it. But I don't tend to use athames or wands, but I have loads of them. So I've put this one on here just to see if it wants to be used or not, because it is beautiful. It's a really lovely piece of agate, which I'm sure you've seen before. And it's blue, so anything blue I put on here. This is my wonderful sistrum, which I bought from Egypt. This I bought at Abydos. And so it's got a lovely face of Hathor on there, and it's been made to look rough by being buried in Egyptian sand for a period of time. As you can see, it doesn't have any rattles on it yet. I will get to that. We have tried, and Egyptian coins are really, really tough, so I might have to use something else, but that's the rattle there ready for it when I do get round to it. I have 2 offering bowls here, focus in, and this one was filled with like incense and flowers and stuff, but I burnt them to Aphrodite yesterday, so it needs refilling. And then some shells, a beautiful piece of spirit quartz, which I have been longing to have for quite a while now. So I finally got it because Aphrodite wanted it. And some rose quartz figures of Venus of Willendorf. I like the link of Venus, even though Aphrodite is different from the Venus figurines of Europe. I love the connection there. And then I've got a yoni egg at the back. And this is a lovely stone figurine that my friend Nandini gave me before I left Glastonbury. And she just reminded me of a mermaid as well, so I've put her here. And then, oh, obviously this statue as well. She reminds me of, well, one, she's a beautiful pregnant mama, but she's also got a yoni and a cave at the back, which reminds me of the caves of the Gower that I love. And then finally I have this comb, which was a part of my Rhiannon training, carved with runes that say truth, linked to the mermaid's comb that you see in mythology. The idea of the comb is that you are brushing out, you are untangling the threads of things that no longer serve you, and you're finding the truth through this untangling. So that's why that's on there. So yes, this is my current Aphrodite altar. It is dedicated to Aphrodite primarily, but obviously you can see there are other goddesses on. It honours the sea, but actually all the elements, because we have sea imagery and shells, as well as candlelight, stones for earth, and a feather at the back there, and a winged Isis. So all of the elements are present. To reflect how Aphrodite isn't just a goddess of the sea, that she actually has dominion over all of the elements if you look into her mythology, and she's not just a goddess of love either. So this is, obviously I have a lot of love put into this, but she's not just a goddess of love. And usually I know I have red altars, and throughout my Rhiannon training I've been really devoted spiritually to the colour red, but this time I'm feeling a big call to blue and the water, and I just follow the calls and I change things up as I go. And I'm thinking about what to do with this space and whether or not I will make this a red altar instead, but I'm undecided yet. So for now this is where I'm pouring all of my love. I do also have another one here for landscape, like local landscape deities, which I'll probably show another time. But yeah, I was really pleased with this. I think it's really beautiful, just like her. So I want to give you that update, as I have now moved and this altar is completely different to the one that I left in Glastonbury. So thank you for watching, and blessed be.